Good afternoon, it's Lee Cassidy from Tactile Technology with one of our regular sessions, SMESec, which is our SME focused security session covering 15 minutes of security around cybersecurity for your business, but in plain English, not Klingon. So we've been covering a lot of different things over the last 3 weeks. When we've gone through some of the sessions where we've talked about, such as NIST and also the National Cybersecurity Centre's 10 steps to ensure that your business is more secure, a couple of things that we've talked about through that is vulnerabilities. And one of the key things is the vulnerabilities of operating systems, but also the vulnerabilities of the actual applications on those operating systems. What we're going to do today is focus on operating systems themselves, and we're going to talk about patch management. So if you're not familiar with it, you don't work in IT, because these sessions are focused on business people, business owners, not focused at the IT groups. You know, you'll be able to pick this to pieces, I'm sure, if you look at it from that perspective. But also, it's not focused at cybersecurity people as well. It's purely at the businesses, the SMEs, that wouldn't normally have a full-time cybersecurity person working for them, a CISO or something like that, you know, a cybersecurity chief information security officer. So it's focused at those type of people and trying to help them understand a little bit more about what they need to do to keep their systems more supported. So this could be a business that's got one employee, you know, it's just been set up, a startup with one person, through to, you know, a business that might have got 200 people and they've got a number of PCs or Macs that are reused, you know, desktops or laptops within the business. They could be in an office environment on a network. They could be home workers or mobile workers as well. So it's all focused at those type of people and what we can do to actually make the business more safe and robust against a cybersecurity threat. So let's talk about patches. So in IT, patching is the updates that we need to apply to the operating system to make sure that it's not vulnerable, and also we add in all the updates and features and bug fixes and things as well. We talk about multiple types of patches as well. So the key ones are security ones. So we have these security or critical patches within the operating system from a Windows perspective. And we have a similar thing on a Mac side as well, where we've got particular types of patches that we need to apply to either fix, you know, a vulnerability within the operating system, fix some kind of security issue, or to improve performance or add additional functionality. So they tend to sit in those spaces. But the key ones are the critical and security ones, especially Windows, because these come out quite regularly. We normally have a thing called Patch Tuesday, where we get a large number of updates that are deployed by Microsoft to those Windows PCs and Windows servers. And it's normally the third Tuesday in each month, and you'll get a large volume appearing. So one of the things is understanding, you know, which machines need to be patched, but secondly, how to actually make that happen. So if you as an organization have, you know, anything between 300 and 200 you know, machines, whether they're Mac or PC based, you know, Windows machines, it's still a challenge to understand if you need any patches deploying. one thing you could do is go to every machine, go into the settings for Windows updates and have a look at what's happening there and see how many patches are available. And if you've done that on a machine, you tend to find it downloads a massive list, and then once you've actually updated them, it downloads another massive list, and it continues to do that until you've got to the point where you've got to the end of that list and it's all updated. And part of the process might be a reboot as well, so it might need to reboot the machine, part of the process of applying those patches. So it can be a very mundane and very time-consuming activity, especially if you've got a large number, and also there can be quite a bit of impact on use of the systems while it happens. So one of the other ways to do this is to have some kind of monitoring platform. And what I'm going to show you today is what we do around monitoring, and this is how we look after our customers, to give you an example of what we do. So first of all, I'm just going to bring on the screen the system we utilize, and this is our standard monitoring platform. So in here we can see a number of machines, we can see the name of them, we can see the type of device they are. Some are physical, some are virtual, because we run a VMware environment. So we've got some machines are actually virtual machines, and we've also got some physical servers as well. So we can see the names of the machines, and we've got the ability to go directly into those machines to do any work we need to do. We can see the operating system that's been deployed on those machines, including a couple of Macs here as well. You can see one of them is the machine I'm using at the moment, which is the iMac M1, just at the right hand side of my little picture here. So from here we can quite quickly understand what machines are doing and what situation they're in. The other thing we can do is look at the patch levels. So when we go into OS patching, we can see now there's a compliance section here. So this is showing us how many of the available patches have actually been deployed to that machine. So if it's 100%, all of the patches have been applied. So it's got all of the compliance with the operating system. Some of them might be 92%, 68%, and onwards, so slightly different settings. We've left some of these to ensure that we actually can see something, because it's pointless me demonstrating it, and every single one of them says 100%. But what we can do from this is understand what patches are required for each machine. So if we go to one of these particular machines, we'll go to one of these servers. So let's go to this one here, which is nearly fully patched, but not quite. So what we can do under OS patching, we can actually see which patches are installed and which aren't installed on there. We can also decide whether they need to be approved or not. And we've got some blocked ones as well that we've blocked in the past. We can see for a specific machine all of the patches that are installed and what's missing. So in fact, we've got a pending reboot for this machine, and we actually set the actual reboots to happen at a particular point in time, and it's normally after midnight, when the actual server doesn't really matter, if it actually reboots. So we can quite quickly see what's been installed, what needs to be installed, and we can actually process that. The other thing that we can do on here, on our patching section, is go through a process of doing what we call patch approvals. So what we can do is actually see a list of all the patches that are available, and we're looking at the moment over the last 90 days. You can see the section here, it says over the last 90 days. These are all the patches that have been set out, and we can see some of them we've already approved, but some of them, there's 4 or 5 of them there, we haven't actually approved yet. So if we select the top one, what we can do is actually decide whether to approve that particular patch, and then it will be deployed, or whether we want to block it, because we might want to, say, test that particular patch. And if we decide that it's going to have an effect on a particular application or the operating system itself, we may decide not to apply that patch. But the other thing we can do with this solution is to actually set some automation. And one of the things we can do in our automation is to actually specify which patches are actually delivered automatically. So we can actually go into our settings, and one of our policies will be around our patching. So what we can do here is look at a particular thing. So let's look at, say, server patching. And within server patching, we can decide which type of patches we actually will automatically deploy without actually asking for approval first. So one of them we can see here is security patches. The second is critical patches. And then we only have on updates, only approved patches are deployed. So we can specify, what's going to be done. And we've actually stopped any drivers being deployed. So we can manually process that. So we don't want a driver deployed that might stop a particular device working correctly. So we've configured it and we've got it ready how we want it, and we can stop particular things. And again, there might be something like update rollups, which is a collection of updates that are all set together that we might want to deploy automatically. And again, we can say do not wait for approval, and it will go through the process of deploying all of those patches. So what we can do here now is, one, monitor what patch level we are at. We can automate the delivery of those patches, but also we can specify when those machines are rebooted. So we've set here between midnight and 4 a.m. that any servers, if they're actually updated, they don't actually reboot until that period of time, because commonly most of our users won't be actually using those machines until it's out of hours. Won't be using them out of hours between midnight and 4. They tend to be in bed like most of us. So we don't have an issue if we actually restart those machines at that point in time. Hopefully that's given you a reasonable picture about what can be done around machine patching and how important machine patching is. A lot of the cyber attacks focus on actually utilizing a vulnerability that they've identified within a particular operating system. There are a number of that have happened over the years, and one of the recent ones which had a major effect was around a piece of third-party software called Log4j. You may have heard of. Well, people actually found a vulnerability within the Log4j reporting tool, which is a Java-based reporting tool, and they could use that to take over control of a server that had Log4j implemented on it. So the same with Microsoft's operating systems. There are particular vulnerabilities that are identified. These could be identified by Microsoft themselves. They could be identified by a third-party security company, or they could be identified because someone uses it and exploits a machine. And once it's been identified and exploited again, it will be patched, released, and then that particular vulnerability would be removed from that machine at that point in time. So critical thing, need to make sure your machines are up to date, especially with critical and security patches. Secondly, if you've got a fair number of them, it can be quite a mundane task to go through and manually do all these, and you could end up in a situation that you are not compliant and you don't have the correct patches installed. The monitoring capability that we have shown you, we can deploy that on any type of machine anywhere. It doesn't matter whether it's a physical machine locally on a local LAN, whether it's in the data center, or whether it's actually a cloud-based platform. We can actually do the same for any of them wherever they reside, as long as they are one of the traditional operating systems that we would normally work with. We can then, like I say, set up a policy to automatically deploy certain patches and reboot machines at particular times as well within a period. And also we can monitor it. So we've got dashboards which will actually show us the number of machines that are currently without specific patches, and what the process is to actually manually deploy those or approve particular patches that are required. Hopefully that's given you a good picture of patching and some of the compliance things around it and the necessity to do it, and also giving you an idea of the kind of thing you can do to actually manage that using monitoring tools and management tools like the RMM platform I've just demonstrated there. If you're interested in working with us to actually look after your devices and your operating systems and ensure that they're all up to date, the tool that we've got there not only allows us to manage patching, but it also allows us to automate the support of machines as well. So we have issues with disk space, memory, any particular issues, we can automate the process of repairing those machines as well to make sure that they're all working afterwards. So Next Monday, we move over to talking about SEAM and network monitoring. So if you'd like to join me at 12:30 next Monday, we could talk about that. And on Tuesday, we've got in our hot seat at 2 o'clock, but we've also got an SMESec earlier in the day. I've not got the details of one we're going to cover there, but I shall make sure you know about that on Monday. Anyway, have a great weekend and hopefully see you soon. Thank you.